Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Harakah, double honors unto the elder apostles, the great notes on the rule well, and shalom to the whole four elect. This is Paya Allah, or should I say, this is news and prophecy, prophecy and news update. The date today is I'll just call it the 11th of January 2026, the year of apostasy, agent, Selats, and Jacob's trouble. All right, this year could be the year, man. All right. We're seeing how hot and heavy it's going. And Apostle mentioned this quote a couple times. It's been ruminating through my mind since I heard him say it. The quote from Vladimir Lenin, where basically he said, "There's years where nothing happens, and then there's um there's week days where decades happen." Let me just pull up that quote. He said there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. That's the quote. And we're seeing this right now because even as I'm actually gearing up to do this video, there's more information coming forth. All right, that really spurs on another video. But let me deal with this. So this should be short and sweet, in and out. This is from aa.com .tr, and the headline reads: Germany vows full solidarity, excuse me, full solidarity with Denmark in US dispute over Greenland. Vice Chancellor Lars Klingbeil says international law must prevail and Germany will make its support for Denmark clear to US at every opportunity. Now, this is this is sweet because and it really shows you that this man's a devil, man, because here it is, these people getting roused up, they're on their toes, they feel some kind of way because they're seeing how Trump's moving right now. All right. It's all he done with Venezuela, how he basically just swooped down there, didn't even go to Congress, just got, what do you call this thing? Got um, uh, a team together to accomplish the mission of acquiring or thieving Maduro and bringing him into the United States, parading him in the back of a van with, agents taking him down to New York. That's some wild shit, man. All right. Mind you, the World Cup is going to be this year in the United States of America. So that's even like a whole powder keg of a situation that's gonna happen. But I'm kind of getting lost. Let me stick on the point. So let's read it. So it says Berlin. It says Germany on Friday pledged full solidarity with Denmark amid U.S. threats to annex Greenland, warning that international law must not be overridden by power politics, according to German media reports. Now, this is funny because Denmark aligned themselves with Israel. They said that they saw fit that they should, take the land of Palestine from the Palestinians, but then also they saw fit with that. There was another point I was going to say, but then these are the same people, and this really shows you the hypocrisy because in the same breath, this is why there's a war going on presently right now, where they have an issue with Russia attempting to annex Ukraine to be part of Russia. All right. So all these things being done is really showing that, you know, their words hold no weight. All right. Morality and the right thing so called, doesn't exist. All right. This is World War III. People are fighting over, footing. Who's got the better footing? Who has the high ground, basically, for World War III, all right, to gain, an advantage over their adversary, all right, which, funnily enough, is all E against E, all right. So reading on, it says, I think I read that. Now I'll read this. International law applies if it cannot be that the law of the strongest prevails, and that is why Denmark has our full solidarity, and we will make that clear to the US at every opportunity. Vice Chancellor Lars Klingbeil um, said on the second day of a closed door meeting of the Social Democratic Party's parliamentary group. The meeting also addressed broader international developments, with Klingbeil describing the current global situation as marked by dramatic upheavals. Okay. He said transatlantic relations, long a cornerstone of foreign and security policy, were disintegrating and in a state of dissolution. All right. So basically, basically saying that North Atlantic Treaty is dissolving. All right. It don't stand the weight that it had before. It don't have in this day and age. All right. Right now, there can only be one consequence, Klingbeil said. We in Europe are now drawing the right conclusions from this. We are ensuring our European sovereignty. Bear this in mind, all right, with the prophecy that's written in the book of Revelation 17. This is basically speaking to the identity of the European nations of basically being European, all right, quintessentially European. So who would they align with when it's America or Russia? All right, we're seeing the makings of this basically unfolding right now. Right, these prophecies, they're leaping off the page and are coming to living color. Right, Germany earlier warned U.S. President Donald Trump over his controversial remarks on Greenland, stressing that the autonomous territory belongs to Denmark, and that borders must not be changed by force. It's completely clear that Greenland is an autonomously administrated territory that belongs to Denmark. Borders must not be moved by force. Territories must not be annexed by force. We are bound by the principles of international law as laid down in the UN Charter. And this is all for, like I said, Palestine. What's good? Obviously, they said they can't recognize them as a country for that sake. And I'm not even no pro, pro Palestine. That falls in line with the prophecies in the book of Revelation, the 11th chapter, whereby that land will be, fought over, all right, tread by the heathen. But it just speaks to a point of a genocide has been happening. Everyone's been witnessing it all over the globe and seeing, people being displaced from their homes. And, it's rich coming from you lot saying that, oh, yeah, you got to respect people's boundaries because, this is how the Heavenly Father works. He does things that really just pit you into a corner that ultimately will make you eat your own words. All right. Deputy government spokesman Sebastian Hill told reporters in Berlin earlier this week. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has reportedly voiced support for Denmark in response to Trump's claims over Greenland. Trump has on several occasions expressed his desire to take control of Greenland, a self-governing territory within Denmark, and has not ruled out the use of military force. Right, and it's not only Germany that's vocalized their siding with uh, Greenland and Denmark, but it's also the UK, France, Italy, Spain, and Poland. All right, so that's a good handful of nations that basically are disputing the idea of Trump going in there, and they can see how he's feeling. He's feeling himself right now. All right, he just done a madness over in Venezuela, and he feels like he's more than prepared to do the same thing over where over in Greenland. All right, and it's not the first. Mind you, they've been stationed there before, so they have a lot of intel, and they do have a base over there at the moment. All right, they've even though they packed it in, Babylon the Great, America basically used to have multiple bases. They only have one there now. But this ain't nothing where it's like a task or a big thing for them to go over there and try and establish themselves. All right. This is something that could be really real. All right. And mind you, Greenland pertains to the Kingdom of Denmark, which is filled basically pertains to Denmark, or is full of the three nations, three groupings of Greenland, Denmark, and the Faroe Islands. All right. So you'll be taking a third of their territory basically. That's full of it's mineral rich, controls different waterways, like I say waterways for lack of a better word, but shipping routes, so that's a lot of economy. There's a lot to that. That isn't a light thing. And that would definitely cause a lot of tension and beef. But hey man, let's read off some scriptures. So this is Amos chapter 3:3. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed? The answer is no. They can't walk together unless I'm sorry. No, yeah, I said it right. No, they can't. For people to walk together, they have to be in agreement. And the Heavenly Father has made it as where these nations were in agreement, as it tells you in the book of Revelation 17, that He put the Spirit on them to be kings with Babylon the Great, who only has the seat, the throne, all right, and they're gonna have power with the beast for that set time, but they won't be the king, but they'll have power as kings, all right. So that agreement is being made, okay, but it's established only for a moment. Well, I'll get to that point in a second. Let me build upon this. So it's the book of Psalms because it speaks to the tune of it all. So, it's the book of Psalms 98 or 83. So and two. I'll start from one. It says, a song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thy silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consoled against thy hidden ones. Right. Who's the Most High's people? All right, Asaph speaking about the Israelites. Right, in these last days, the Israelites are basically been, become a no people, as it tells you in the book of Hosea, and discontinued from their heritage. And in that being the case, they're basically now known as so-called black people, right? The word black, as it was shown in the movie Malcolm X, played by Denzel Washington and directed by Spike Lee, I believe it was. Basically, Malcolm went into the definition of black, how it meant void, it just meant nothingness, right? And that speaks true to form as far as where we are today. But save the people that have been um, had their minds open to this truth, they're now aware of who they really are. All right, and you have the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Brazilians, so on and so forth. They are the children of Israel. All right, and they've been meticulously dealt with by the people that are going to be outlined in this book, in this chapter. All right. So it says, verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel no may be no more in remembrance. And that's really all done through spirit, right? To bring about the discontinuance of the Heavenly Father's heritage. But this is their part that they've played, right? Because they knew one, it tells you in the book of Revelation that we taught Revelation 11, anytime, you know, we were in our right spirit, we tormented these nations. But they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. I might have to look up the word confederate because it feeds into this point, right? Right, the word there for confederate is bar rayaf, or covenant, bar rayaf. Right, the same word you get for British, right? Bar rayaf, ayash, bar rayaf means covenant, ayash means man. So covenant, so it's a covenant, alliance, pledge between men, treaty, allegiance, league, man to man, constitution, ordinance, monarch to subjects, agreement, pledge, man to man, alliance of friendship, alliance of marriage between God and man, alliance of friendship. So they made a covenant, they made an agreement between men, an alliance, a pledge, all right, a league, all right, an alliance, friendship, and even through marriage to some degree as well. All right. And in doing so, you know, this is what they've done for the sake of getting us up out of the way. And it goes on to name names: the tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white man, the Ishmaelites, the Arabs of Moab, the Chinese, the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon, the Japanese, and Amalek, which is the chief, all right, of Esau, Edom, being the so-called Jews, the Philistines, Hamites, right, be known today as Africans, but those of like the variants of like the Sudanese and those particular uh, ones that pertain to South Africa, so on and so forth, with the inhabitants. Sorry. Asher also is joined with them. They have Hope and the children of Lot. So Lot, the children of Lot being Ammon and Moab, right? And Asher would be the Assyrians, all right? So these are they've come together for that one purpose, but this is the thing, as I said before, they walked together because they were in agreement. But now what the Heavenly Father has done, he's basically, you know, mingled a perverse spirit in Babylon. And in doing so, now that agreement that once stood is basically is ain't what it once was. All right. And now we're gonna see this play out in these last days. So this is Isaiah 19. I'll start from 19 and 1. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight one against another, against his brother, sorry, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And this is what we're seeing right now. Uh, we'll read on verse 3. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. That same counsel that was established is going to be destroyed. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Right, and we're seeing that right now. We're seeing this cruel Lord Donald Trump doing his thing. all right? And this is bringing about where that blessing of the sword basically is now gonna come, move from the bless, the what goes around comes around, right? You reap what you sow, in a sense that if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So now the latter part of that saying is coming to fruition, where the Egyptians are being brought against each other. So with that, pray you're edified to the next one. Shalom.